my name is Meghan Burke, and I'm here with Campbell-Amsler, and we're going to talk about how she came into her profession in basket weaving and any advice she has for the future generations. So, Jo, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, and were the arts always in your life, or did it come later in life?
Okay. Art's always been in my life. I took art all through high school. After high school, I went to college in horticulture landscape design. So that was kind of the area I was in for a while. And at one point along the way, I took a random Willow basketry course where we gathered all our material and fell in love with it. And through the years, that has led me to here.
So that little specific class
That
influenced
one class,
you
right.
just to go on?
Did.
That's really great. And then did you always feel like after that class, did you think that like, this is what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna be a professional basket maker?
Not really. At the time when I took the course, my husband and I were in the process of moving up to northern Minnesota, lived for a year, I had no work, I was out in the country, there was wild willow, so I just kept making baskets, applied to an art fair, got into the art fair. Art did that for a number of years, and people started wanting to learn what I did, and I was encouraged to teach, and then teaching became a real major part, and I've been doing that for, I figured the other day, a little over 30 years. So I'm an old timer.
That's great though. You're teaching the future generations.
That's my plan.
And inspiring everyone. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
And then, so for work experiences, you just have been teaching throughout the years and kind of bringing in that group of basket makers and things?
Yes, teaching it for different basket guilds. There's many basket guilds in the country, at different art and craft schools, for different nature centers, for educational places like that.
Yeah.
Just kind of the more I taught, the more came my way. And I learned to teach better as time went on.
Do you think that the craft school experience has really benefited you and other people?
Yes, I think the craft school is a great place to go and learn. It's my preferred place to teach, and I recommend it as the best place to learn because people are giving themselves time to really focus and learn what they came to do rather than a one-day course or a half-a-day course. It's a whole different experience, much better.
And then how were you introduced to Touchstone specifically?
Through Lindsay Kenneher Gates. She and I worked on the National Basketry Organization board together, got to know each other there. And I would say maybe Herbs asked me to come. So
fantastic. That's lovely. And then are there any specific failures or opportunities that you can think of that push you to keep going and progress in your career?
I've had lots of opportunities. I don't know that I've had any bad experiences or failures. I feel pretty blessed that one step always led me to another step and the connections with people. And I think there's a real desire for people to learn about the natural world and to make things with their hands. Absolutely. And so I've been very fortunate to fall into this, I think.
Came organically, I would say.
Yeah. Well, the fact I took horticulture, I'm an outdoors person, and anything to do with sticks and picking up and gathering, it just seemed to fit. And I learned not to be bashful and to talk in front of people, and so it just kind of fell into place. It was never a big master plan.
That's great.
And I have a great supportive family that said, yeah, go for it.
That's really nice to hear because I know a lot of times, as like for myself included, I feel like pushed, like I need to know the next goal, I need to know the next step, and to have somebody else who just had something organically happen and just the inspiration came, and one thing led to another. Yeah. That's really nice that it's kind of like
be open to what comes your way, think about it, think if that is something you want to give a try. It's still a learning experience every step. Like this week's class, I had some students I worked with before pushing me like, I want to do this. I go, I don't know how to do that, so let's figure it out. So again, I learn more things again from my students.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love that. What other advice would you give younger artists or artistic people trying to make it in the world, or just
I think it's important to know the people to respect the people you've learned from, and to talk to them and take advice from them, and also not be afraid to try new things and branch out. I think we have to support ourselves, and that is a hard thing when you're in the arts. So sometimes you have to work a regular job you don't love, but still be careful to give yourself that time to do your creative stuff. You know, even if it's only if you want to teach, if you can do it twice a year, and then have to work another job, then that twice a year is going to maybe show you someone is going to be in that class, say, hey, I want you to come here. So allow yourself some time to grow and learn along the way, and just be focused on what you want to do. But sometimes you have to, you know, do things you don't want to do along the way that aren't on your list. Don't be too proud to go get that job in the cafe.
Yeah, to make
That's
it
what
work.
you have to do. Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah. We all have been.
Is there any like white whale achievement that you have reached, or are you still trying to work towards?
I'm always working towards something. I would say probably one of the big highlights of a success for me was being part of a Stephen Coyle collection that's now part of the Renwick Museum in the Smithsonian. So it's a permanent part of the collection. I have 2 pieces in that. And that's a pretty big honor. I'm really honored. Is a group of baskets he collected for a number of years, all American basket weavers that gathered and processed all their own materials. So very specific, mostly traditional baskets, functional baskets. So to be included in that group of people who I hold in great honor was a real achievement for me. So I'd say that's the biggie right now.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's huge. What legacy do you hope to leave that will influence and inspire future generations?
Well, I hope to encourage the next generation of willow weavers. I hope to encourage young people like yourself to grow and realize willow, it's such a great thing to work with because it's a renewable resource. It's good for the land, it's good for people, and I would like to leave that legacy of that tradition going on, and people taking my place to do what I've been fortunate to do for the last 40 plus years. That would be probably my greatest goal, really, is to carry it on. I've worked really hard to learn the skills and techniques because they were pretty much non-existent in this country. So I've come up with some things that aren't traditional, maybe learn better ways along the way. I've been fortunate to travel and work with European willow weavers where the tradition is still pretty strong. So I would like all that hard work of my learning to continue on, and people don't have to start from ground zero again.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think when you first started making baskets, it was that ground zero where people were trying to bring back basket making?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Very, particularly the style I do, very few skills known out there at all. The person I learned from in the class was real basic. She did great baskets, but they were very rustic and organic, and really she taught herself. So there was not a lot of those traditional techniques. So I've spent years like this should be done better, and learning that there is a way to do it better. So I would really like that to not get lost again.
Yeah, that's great. That's so nice to have that kind of tradition being passed on years and years, because it's not like, I didn't know, it's not very common craft in my world. So it's nice to be able to
basketry
have that
is
community.
kind of has been overlooked because it's a functional, I don't know why. It hasn't always been included or accepted in the art world. It's not in woodworking, it's its own little entity, basket. When there's a discussion of, well, our basket's art, then there's a lot of varieties of way people think about that. But I listened to a speaker talking about basketry and art, and she said baskets don't need to be art, they just are what they are. They're 3-dimensional objects that can be functional or sculptural, and that's all they need to be. They're in their own category, and I like that.
I like that too, that's really nice. Do you have any other advice or words of wisdom that you would share with myself and other artistic?
I would say the main words I tell my class: practice, practice, practice. Just keep knowing that maybe you're not great at it at the beginning. The first basket class I did, I worked really hard. I thought they were wonderful. My instructor told me she never thought I'd be a basket maker because I was the worst one in the class, but I loved doing what I did. So practice, practice, practice. Keep learning. Learning is a lifelong experience. So, and patience is a good thing to have.
Very true. Thank you so much, Joe.
You're welcome.
Thank you talking with me tonight.
Great talking.